Hey, everybody.
Hi there. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Doing good.
Cool.
Just looking for a moment to collect everybody. It always takes a little while before.
Cool, yeah. This is I don't know if it's a dirty word in here, but this reminds me a lot of Clubhouse. So hopefully it works similar to that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, cool.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Good. So it looks like you guys can hear me. That's awesome.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
As humanity extends its reach into the universe, we will most certainly need a multiplanetary currency, a fair currency that represents us all. That currency is Dogelon Mars. We are the Dogelon Warriors, a group of dedicated individuals who aim to assist and propel humanity into the next era. Join us on our mission to make Dogelon Mars the currency of the future, and welcome to the Dogelon space. I am Shashank, and today we have a guest in our space, Dane Gobel. Welcome. We already spoke a little bit here. So let's just go straight to the questions that we have. First and foremost is, of course, who are you? Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Yeah, I am Dane Gobel. The rumors are true. Let's see. So my Dave and I started the foundation, Methuselah Foundation, about 20 years ago. And there's an awful lot more details about myself. I'm not sure how much you want me to get into my personal life, but we've been doing the foundation for quite a long time. I'm a proud Dogelon hodler, and just very, very happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't think we should go into much personal details, for sure.
Okay. I'm married. I have a 3-year-old little girl who's a real sweetheart. I play guitar. I've been spending too much time over the last week playing Elden Ring. I don't know if anybody is playing that. I'm excited Batman comes out a couple days from now. So, and other things.
So we probably also have some new listeners in here in this Dogelon space. So would you like to explain what the Methuselah Foundation actually is?
Sure. So it's a biomedical charity. Like I said, we've been around 20 years. 20 years ago, nobody ever really, or very few people ever talked about aging as a disease, or the diseases of aging. They are kind of, just considered to be different sorts of things. And so when we first got started, a lot of what we were interested in doing was trying to change that conversation. And so that actually has actually happened, which is very nice for us to see. And so there's quite a bit more research and funding within that area of research. So
you get the cut off there. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. So we do open innovation challenges, which is a fancy way of saying prizes. One of the first things we did was called the M Prize, which was about extending the lifespan of a mouse. And so we had a couple of scientists who were actually able to essentially double the lifespan of a mouse using calorie restriction and some gene knockout. We also have been funding research into aging through grants for a very, very long time. And we have invested in numerous companies that are also working to solve those problems. So like I said, we've done some work with NASA before. We did one challenge with them called the Vascular Tissue Challenge, which was really cool, and thankfully was won last year, which is about creating vascularized tissue, which we kind of realized was one of the main rate limiters in a whole organ creation, which is kind of the holy grail of tissue engineering. And we're also currently doing the Deep Space Food Challenge as well, which is all about adaptive and hyper efficient nutrition for astronauts, of course, but also if you can deliver on the premise of indefinitely feeding a crew of 4 with really nutritious and delicious food, you can bring that technology back to Earth and hopefully do some really, really good stuff when it comes to food insecurity and sustainability.
Yeah, a lot of people in the Dogelon Mars community are really watching the Deep Space Food Challenge right now. Because,
oh, cool.
Yeah, because we're introducing that as well, right? As the community with the NASA partnership. So that is a really, really nice addition there. And,
yeah, they're really good people. Oh, I'm sorry, I lost you for a second.
And the Methuselah Foundation, seeing aging as a disease is, of course, a very novel idea, right? Because aging is definitely something that's just occurring simply because other systems in the wear out, right? So even like a car, you can extend the life of a car as well by proper maintenance or replacing parts, but it doesn't mean that the car has to die away or go to the junkyard, right? So
yeah,
it's really an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as we've gone on over the years, we were a bit more, I would say, structured in terms of how we did the research at the beginning. But we started taking more of a macro approach, I think, around 2010, which has made it much easier for us to be flexible and opportunistic in the way that we fund research. Sometimes you can get a little too structured and end up leaving really, really great stuff on the table. And so, yeah, we try to keep an open mind and just do a great deal of research and talk to subject matter experts and make sure that you're casting a really, really wide net, and just so we can fund the right stuff.
Yeah, you also mentioned something about the calorie restriction, that the life of mice has been doubled because of it. And I believe the scientists of the original research are still doing some investigation regarding that, right? I believe that they're implementing that diet on themselves.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of work done in calorie restriction. It can be a little tricky though for your diet. I've known some people who are some radical calorie restrictionists, and literally to the extent where you carry a scale around with you and you weigh the pieces of lettuce that you're eating, which is probably not the kind of approach that's going to be great for your mainstream person. So if there's drugs that can be developed that mimic the effects of calorie restriction, that's going to be something that's going to be much more effective for the general populace. But yeah, calorie restriction has been proven for a long time to be very effective at extending your lifespan.
So yeah, the connection with the Methuselah Foundation, the stewardship that has now come into the Dogelon Mars project by the donation of Frederick Butteran of the 43%. And that's also very interesting that the Methuselah Foundation doesn't act like a whale in the crypto space, but actually is very supportive and patriotic in that respect, trying to aid the project
Yeah, absolutely. We were, when we heard that the donation happened, we were actually very, I mean, we were so happy because obviously not just for the fact that it's, financially helpful for the mission, but the community is really fantastic. And if there's anything that we can do to help educate people about the possibilities that are out there in terms of scientific progress, actually changing the way that people think about aging and actually being able to affect in a mainstream way how the science is moving, that's very exciting for us. So yeah, we take our responsibility to the community incredibly seriously, and we're honestly just so grateful to everyone for being so supportive of what we're trying to do. It means a lot. It's really amazing. And it's interesting to talk to other people in the space too, because sometimes they're a little skeptical at first. Some people get it immediately, they think it's amazing. Other people a little bit skeptical, but it doesn't take very long for you to have a conversation with them and just explain the fact that it's not just for the Methuselah Foundation, but for everyone who's doing research in this industry. This community is kind of rallying behind the mission, and it's just so exciting to see. And it's I think long term, it's really going to have a transformative impact on so many people.
Yeah, I fully agree. And it's one of the main pointers why I, as a hodler as well, try to communicate the message as much as I can from the Methuselah Foundation, but also from the Dogelon Mars project. It's very double-sided what we have to do. And it's like two sides of a coin. That's what I try to say. We have the Methuselah one side on the Elon part, and on the other side we have the Dogelon Mars project that is really in the blockchain part, where the devs are trying to enhance and evolve there. And in between we have the community, the ring in between the two sides of the coin, and that's the glue. That's always how I try to explain it, because we have people inside the community that are very on the longevity part, and we have people inside the community that are very focused on the crypto, and together we have to try and make it all right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's really cool that in this specific instance with the stewardship, it seems to be both sides trying to make it work for everybody involved, not just for the Methuselah Foundation or for the Dogelon devs, but also for the community and pull everybody together. So yeah, I would like to applaud you guys for that. And to go on to your remark about talking with people about it. I also heard you on the ETH Denver conference. So that's also why you got invited to Dogelon Space, of course. So I would to talk with you on that for a little while. If you would like to tell us on how you experienced the seminars there, for example.
Yeah, sure. It was ETH Denver was pretty crazy. It was actually the first crypto conference I attended. So it was an interesting vibe. I mean, it's a combination of technical talks and just an enormous party. So like Tiesto was there, that sort of thing. So it was a really kind of interesting vibe. So you have Vitalik, running around in a Buffycorn outfit. You have a Lambo outside with Shibas all over it. So it was a very interesting. Yeah, it was a really interesting vibe in the room. It's like huge amount of energy. It was really cool to see so many passionate people and talented people. But as far as the talks that I attended, it was mostly the DeSci related talks. So I had known some of those folks from before, but it was, to my knowledge, I think this is true. This is the first time that really so many of the DeSci organizations, who are all very new, they actually all ended up getting together and doing a series of talks across the whole week. So it almost felt like it was a satellite conference, the number of talks that were going on. And so those were, I would say, the bulk of what I actually attended. But they had some amazing stuff, everything from, from different, from tech trees, so if anybody's ever played like Civilization before, or, even like, a skill tree in an RPG, it's basically, hey, how do we get from A to Z? And sometimes Z is something as crazy as, Dyson spheres, where you're trying to, absorb all of the energy from a star, so sometimes the tech trees are wild and crazy. But also some of them are much more grounded. And so in particular, I was interested in one gentleman who was doing a longevity tech tree, and he did a fantastic job. Very, 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 very thorough. So one of the things that you can do with decentralized science organization is that you could take those tech trees and use it as like an underlying structure for a DAO, so that's actually something that I thought was pretty interesting. So a number of these organizations are DAOs. In fact, I would say most of them have some sort of DAO functionality built into it. And yeah, so I listened to a lot of those talks. There's some really incredible thinking going on in that community, and it's really, really cool to see something so new, just kind of really, starting to take off. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how it goes in the coming years.
So decentralized science, I'm not sure everybody in this space know what it is, but it is based on utilizing the crypto blockchain either for voting on new technology or to peer review, for example, a journal, and have that transparently registered into the blockchain, just on a base level to explain what the basis is of decentralized science. Of course, it goes way further than that, and that's what I believe that you saw in Denver, right? The more advanced parts where they really want to go to. And
yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no problem.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's absolutely right. And one of the things I really like about it, the community, though, is that it's sometimes in the crypto space you can kind of see that like the blockchain is a little bit, or can be a little bit of like a hammer looking for a nail. It's like it's a tool, and it's just like seeking use cases. But within the DeSci community, it's largely, these are scientists, and they're going to do the science one way or the other. And they just happen to find something, Web3 technologies that are going to make that job a lot easier. And so it's just, it's great to see the such a practical use case that's going to be really, really good for humanity, and not just good for your, not just good for your wallet, but really, it's actually good for advancing science and improving people's lives.
Yeah, I'm really glad that the crypto space is very evolving right now. We see in the last 12 months that there has been a huge leap in all kinds of different fields. So, yeah, if you are interested, if you're listening in right now and you're hearing about decentralized science, it's something that you are interested in, go check it out on the internet, right? There are many different things popping up right now. It's very new and novel, but it is exploding. And I also saw, Dane, that you gave a presentation on the Denver about DeSci. Would you like to say something about what you presented on?
Yeah, sure. So it's actually kind of a funny story. I got to ETH Denver, and after I'd been there for a couple of days, I found out that somebody had assigned me a talk on Friday. I had no idea. They even picked the title for me. They didn't tell me I had a talk. They didn't tell me what time it was. I guess it's what happens when you have a decentralized conference. But anyway, so it was like, okay, well, instead of me talking for 20 minutes about blockchain, which is not something I'm a huge expert in, I figured, hey, this would be a great opportunity to give a platform to some of these DeSci organizations. And so I talked to them, And basically what we did is lightning talks. So I just did a kind of a short introduction, about myself and Methuselah, and said, hey, this is, Methuselah's, we've been doing, what is now, I guess, branded as decentralized science, but with the kind of specific association to blockchain. But, we open innovation challenges. That's kind of the old version of decentralized science, where you put out a bounty essentially, and you say to the scientific community, hey, whoever can figure out how to do this thing will get the prize. And so it ends up being, pretty decentralized, and a lot of information sharing and that sort of thing happens as also as a result of that. So I just felt like there was something really special going on with the DeSci community, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to have the big stage. Because, like I said before, they were kind of running kind of like the satellite, series of events, but it was in kind of one of the smaller areas of the conference, I guess, or kind of medium sized, I suppose. But they had, for whatever reason, they assigned me a talk on the big stage on Friday, and so I'm like, okay, well, here's a good opportunity to get some mainstream eyeballs on what's happening in DeSci. So that's what happened, and it was nice. It ended up actually doubling the size of the Telegram group. So it made me really, really happy to see so many people in I guess in the mainstream crypto world be introduced to what's happening in the DeSci community.
And with the Telegram group, you mean a different Telegram group than the Dogelon Mars Telegram group, just to be clear.
Yeah, that's right.
So, are there any next steps you can share with us regarding how you will be involved with DeSci and what that will mean as well for the Methuselah Foundation?
So there's a lot of stuff that's being notionally kind of kicked around. So, like I said before, it's a very new community, and there's so many different players. But it was a good opportunity to meet everyone, spend a lot of time with those folks, and really just kind of dive deep into the different approaches, different use cases that they are looking into, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to be doing stuff that's DeSci related, and actually tied to the blockchain proper. But how those partnerships actually end up shaking out, it's unclear at this time. It's a little too early to say, but there's a lot of amazing work and a lot of learning to be done. So mostly at this point, it's keeping the relationships going and supporting however we can, and then continuing to work internally to figure out exactly how we want to approach that going forward.
Awesome. And then I have one last question, and that's of course that everybody's waiting for. Is there something maybe you could share about what's up and coming between Dogelon Mars and the Methuselah Foundation, or maybe Dogelon Mars itself, right, from the depths, or is everything still very secretive?
Well, I can't say too much, unfortunately, but the obviously May is coming up very, very, very soon. So we're going to be announcing things very, very, very soon related to that sort of thing. But it's not quite there. I mean, we know what we're going to do, but we haven't. We're not quite ready to announce, but definitely keep your eyes peeled. I think everyone's going to be really, really excited and happy with what we're going to do. It's actually really cool. I'm excited about it. So I mean, I would love to say it right now. It like kills me not to just like say stuff. So, but I need to stop talking or else I'm going to say something stupid. So I just can't wait, guys. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. And just to explain what the May event is, in May the last year, the Methuselah Foundation, that they're going to take a year to talk and think about what they're going to do with the 43%. So I'm excited. I'm really excited what that is going to be, right? There have been a few teasers that have been thrown into the community over the years. So, I'm really excited turns out to be. So yeah, that being said, though, if you would like to stick around, you're welcome to. Normally the space takes about 2 hours, but if you want to tag out at some point during it, be my guest. There will probably be some questions from the audience as well at some point. But before we go into the questions from the audience, I would like to give Glastier the mic for a second. He has some items to share from the news. So go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I have a few topics that stood out to me from last week. And of course, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the price, because as we all know, last week was very interesting, to say the least. A lot of things happened in the world, which of course reflected back on crypto as well. So on the 23rd, the world was in disbelief of what happened. And that, of course, made the Dogelon price drop all the way down to 0.630 to, of course, quickly recover all the way back up to 0.786 the next day, which was, of course, a pretty wild ride. Since then, the market has been recovering, Dogelon Mars has been recovering, and we are now well over 0.800. So let's hope the market and Dogelon Mars can keep this momentum up to break that zero again very, very soon. Something else, what just came out today, which is super cool, is that guardarian.com. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, because I've never heard of it myself, but they announced that they listed Dogelon Mars on their platform today. Of course, that's another one that's biting the dust, another one to add to the list, and the list, of course, just keeps on growing. After a little research, Guardarian is an Estonian registered exchange where you can easily buy and sell crypto without any registration, which is very nice. The only thing is KYC is required, but this is at most exchanges. If you're interested, go to guardarian.com. You will find a tweet on the Dogelon Warriors page as well with their announcement. And of course, always do your own research. Then the next item, what I found is that Dogelon Mars has blessed us again with their wisdom, with his wisdom this week. Of course, his tweets are always cryptic and always very smart. They're keeping us on our toes for what is to come next. And in times of fear, of course, it's very important we keep our mind clear and we work together as a team. And that time is, of course, now. And the last item I want to touch on, which I think is very important, is that most of us will probably have noticed that scammers have becoming very, very active again. These times of fear bring out the worst in some people, unfortunately. There are a few fake Dogelon Mars giveaways going on social media, on Twitter. I saw them on Telegram. I saw them. They're hopefully not going on anywhere else, but please do not fall for any fake giveaways. Giveaways are always announced on the official Twitter page. They will always be announced on the Telegram. So if you get a DM or whatever, don't fall for it. They're all fake. Of course, as well, with the situation in the Ukraine, scammers are very keen to jump on board there as well and trying to take your money. There are a lot of fake donation addresses going around. And if you want to donate, please always do your research and try to donate to only reputable charities. Always double check the addresses on different sources like their websites and social media. For this week, I think that's about it. And I hope that's informative, and I'll hand it back to you, Sarge.
Thank you again for the news. And now I think it's time for the community. So if anybody has any questions for Dane or for us, just go ahead and request speakership and we'll let you come up. Right now, small caps is there. So I'm approving you right now. So when you have the ability, you can go ahead and say something. For everybody else, you are also going to be added as a speaker, but please wait until we call out your name before speaking up. Thank you very much. I don't know what happened with small caps. He disappeared. So, Robert, you got the floor.
Yes. First off, Mr. Gobel, thank you for joining us today. I have one question for you. I noticed on the when you were at the East Denver conference, and on the presentation, the introduction screen, you had the Elon logo up there. And I was just curious, when you're around a lot of other scientific folks and stuff like that, I wonder, just can you share like how many questions came up or were asked, or are most people aware of that, of the Elon already, or, you know, kind of let me know how, I mean, I know you can't share a whole lot with them, but you're a holder, so I'm sure you get excited to talk to people about it, but I'm just curious how many questions you might have had. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hey, Robert. Good to meet you. Yeah, gosh, let's see. So, I mean, you're at a crypto conference, so there's definitely a higher likelihood of people knowing what's going on. I think it's definitely like, what can I say? It's people, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag, to be honest. You know, some people don't like certain kinds of coins. Other people love them. I think people do though love, you know, on either side, you know, you can take a coin and as long as it's got a really great use case, it's going to succeed. And so I think people on both sides can see that, see what we're trying to do and what the community is trying to do, and they really love that. So even if they don't like what, you know, could be called a meme coin or something like that, they love that we're trying to have it focused around a mission. And then of course, you know, there's loads of other people who, you know, absolutely love it, you know, just for how it started out. So so definitely it was fun talking to people about it. A lot of people got a huge kick out of what's going on. It's for the people who were introduced to it, they love what's happening. I think it's really cool. And these are also like some of these are science folks, and not all of them are, you know, you know, they tend to be, you know, pretty serious people sometimes. And so to get them excited about it was a lot of fun.
Hey, Dan, I have a question. Now, you know, with Methuselah Foundation and Dogelon, I mean, is there any other digital currencies that's doing what Dogelon is doing right now? As a Deep Space Food Challenge, the first intergalactic coin, and is like Dogelon Mars is a unique coin that other digital currencies that is not doing, correct?
Yeah, it's very unique. I think also too, as far as the fundamentals of it, in terms of the way that it was originally set up to be, you know, impossible to rug pull, and it was the original inspiration was, you know, the devs seeing, you know, so many coins and tokens out there that were, you know, being used to, you know, do some pretty ugly, nefarious things to their communities, and they wanted to change that. So from its original inception, it was already trying to do something good for people. And so, you know, when Vitalik, you know, gave us so much of it, you know, the first thing that we wanted to make sure was that the devs were not, nasty people and they were doing things for the right reasons. So we were very, very happy to see that. And then now that we're trying to do what we can in terms of both, one scientific research, longevity research, and doing whatever we can in the space world, because obviously, space is a really, really great place to do experiments. Because if you get them wrong, you die. Space is very dangerous. It's also a great environment to create very, very specific experiments. And so, the more that we can do out there, so long as it impacts life back on Earth, it's something that we're always very interested in doing. So, yeah, definitely the partnership with NASA is something that we've been excited about for a long time, and now, being able to connect those dots for the Dogelon community is something that we're really excited about too.
And I believe a lot more people in Florida. I mean, I looked at the winners of the Deep Space Food Challenge. Some of them is in Florida, which is it's a great thing to see. It's a great thing to see for this whole world. Thank you, Dane.
Oh, of course. Are you from Florida?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Cool. Nice place.
Thank you. Small caps.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys. Dan, I got a question about the prize pool and the winners for the prize pool. Now, when they win, who maintains the patent rights? Like, so say if they come out with a scientific breakthrough, do they own the patent rights for winners, or will that fall to Methuselah? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so the IP is actually all entirely held by the teams. So it's a nice structure that NASA came up with. Definitely makes it a lot easier for more established companies to participate. So yeah, all the IP is retained by the teams, and NASA just, if anything, reserves the right to negotiate in good faith for a license to it. So they just want to be able to essentially be these companies' customers.
Thank you. That's all I have.
No problem.
Paolo, go ahead.
Mr. Gobel, hi, how are you? Thank you for being on the space. I have a question to ask you. Considering 90 the new 50, what would that cost the retailer in the future?
Great question. I have no idea, but it would have to be something pretty inexpensive. I think as soon as you get to the point where you can argue that you've, reached what, can be called like longevity escape velocity or actuarial escape velocity, you get to the point where you've really reversed someone's aging to that extent. You have to be able to immediately have a plan for how you do it for everybody. You don't want a situation where it becomes like a billionaire space race kind of thing. Even though, there's nothing implicitly or intrinsically wrong with that, because, any kind of attention in an area and funding in an area is going to be good for the industry as a whole. Even if the poster children might be billionaires, which is suboptimal. But yeah, you definitely, as soon as the interventions are there, the first thing that you do is you have to make it economical and distributable for as much of the populace as possible. So it will certainly take time, but it needs to get to the point where it's cheap. But even aside from that, I mean, to be quite honest, there's a great deal that you can do right now that is very, very inexpensive. So without giving any kind of official medical advice, right, there's a fair number of things that can be done right now, which are, pretty mainstream and understood to be life extending, like metformin, that sort of thing.
I have a second question,
yeah,
if you don't mind. So I'm in the medical field, and I understand the theory of research, and that's questioning. To when you're at these big events and you've got a lot of scientists there, some scientists will believe X, Y, and Z, and some of them won't. When a scientist approaches you and tells you that you cannot change somebody's biological clock, how do you answer that question?
Well, I don't think, I mean, biological clock is one thing, but think you can, it's pretty easy to argue, honestly. No serious scientist is going to say that you can't do one of any number of the specific things, which then you can aggregate together and say, okay, that's what the goal is. You're kind of reversing age. But any scientists, they understand that these things are possible. And I think a lot of it has just honestly changed over the years. Like I said before, 20 years ago, it was almost an embarrassing thing for a scientist to talk about. We were talking about reversing aging. Just had people they thought the idea was either icky or embarrassing. And that's just in general changed, a great deal. The paradigm has shifted, quite a lot. So, you're still going to have people that might argue over one thing or the other, like say overpopulation or, that sort of thing. But, there's a lot of arguments that are available to help move that conversation. And, really honestly, like at least for myself, I always like it when people tell me I'm wrong. The more that I hear that, the more that, you have an opportunity to learn something. So it's always nice actually when you talk to scientists, because they usually have really, really good questions, and they will tell you that you're wrong in a very specific way, which is really, really nice for finding opportunities for new things to research and new rabbit holes to go down.
Thank you. And my last final question, 90 being the new 50, how long or how far do we project seeing that actually happen?
Yeah, it's a great question. It depends on how you frame it. So, our goal is to get there by 2030. We're not specific about what subset of the population is going to be there, right? But we need to have a strong proof of principle at minimum that's going to be something that we certainly hope to see. And I personally, this is just my opinion, I think we're definitely going to see it in our lifetimes in terms of it being technically feasible. The question is, we live in a very, very complicated world. So how is it actually going to get out there? Those are different questions. But, once once you say the genie's out of the bottle, there's going to be probably quite a bit of pressure in order to make that available and economical for the masses. It's going to raise a lot of questions. It's not like it's going to be something overnight, that's going to just be some, silver bullet, sort of thing. It's going to be complicated. But I think that it's certainly technically feasible within our lifetimes, and in a very, very, possibly, hopefully this decade. I think we're going to definitely see a lot of progress. There's a lot of amazing things that are going on, some of which I can talk about, other things I can't, but there's a lot of progress being made in the field.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, for sure. Thank you.
All right, Tony, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Gobel. Super excited about Dogelon. Invested a bunch. I'm super excited to see where it goes. This is not a Dogelon question per se, but just wanted to know what class you were playing as in Elder Ring.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm the Vagabond, actually. Yeah, Vagabond. I'm looking forward. I'm fairly early on. I'm still kind of bouncing around, and I don't want to give any spoilers to anybody who's playing. But yeah, so I'm still mostly in Limgrave, but I keep popping up in surprising locations. But at some point, I'm going to try out some power stancing, because I think they brought that back from Dark Souls too. So I'm looking forward to that. How about you?
I'm kind of just started out. I've been playing Destiny, Destiny Witch Queen, the Bungie game, recently, but I'm gonna get into Elden Ring here pretty soon. It looks so big. It looks so ginormous as far as just the world and everything.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. And as far as open world games go, personally, I usually get really bored playing open world games because they kind of repetitive, and there's a lot of chores, hey, go to my basement and clean out the rats and stuff like that. And it gets a little tiresome, for me. Elden Ring is dense. It's absolutely ridiculous how much content they have crammed in there. I've never played anything like it in my life.
Looks like
Say
there's a
what?
boss around at every corner, you know?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea how they did it. There's so much stuff in that game.
Run, man. Hey, man, be blessed.
All right, you too.
Talk to you guys later.
Dane, I have a question to add to Paulo's first question. So he asked how much it would cost. Do you think it could be built into our daily life? So like into our food chain, or the way we work, or the way we, learn how to grow up, or, interact with certain things?
Yeah, absolutely. It will certainly need to be. I mean, so there's certain things that you could class as interventions, and then there's other things that are entirely within the realm of what you as an individual are able to do, right? So no one's going to say that exercise and eating right and getting enough sleep is going to be bad for you. All that stuff is totally valid. But yeah, of course, there's going to be actual medical interventions. So one thing that we are interested in, and part of the reason why we're doing the food challenge, is because it is obviously it's about nutrition, but it's also about drug delivery systems. So it's not implicit in the way that the prize is currently structured, but if you can get to the point where you're able to produce a great variety of different sorts of foods, and maybe, like, let's say you've also got cultured meat in the loop somewhere in there, that's probably likely. You're not terrifically far away from being able to produce drugs and human tissues at scale and in a decentralized fashion. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so for the food challenge, I mean, this is maybe getting a little bit more specific than you need, but it necessitates a very, very small, rather small device, something that essentially would be able to, to fit into your kitchen, a couple of cubic meters, that sort of thing. Not very large, and it has to be able to produce calories, enough calories, and a great deal of variety for the astronauts. So it's a nice thing. It's a really, really challenging problem, and you really have to be able to produce such a huge variety of different sorts of things. So our hope is that after that challenge ends, that we might do something that is a follow-on that relates to specifically towards actual medicine, pharma production in a decentralized way. So I mean, it's still a long ways to go, I would say, but like you said, is this something that can fit into your daily life? It absolutely will. And not only does it have to fit into an individual's daily life, but it has to fit into society as a whole. So the way that we handle all of these things is not terrifically efficient, both in terms of how drugs are developed and how they actually end up getting to market, but also how they're distributed and how equitable is that distribution. So this is actually a huge, huge problem, and there's many different ways of approaching how you want to attack it, but you have to move the needle. You have to make it economical for the companies that are doing this work. You have to put pressure on them to change the way that they approach things, and the end result is hopefully that this is something that's economical and distributable to the masses, and it just becomes almost invisible to your daily life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I hope I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I'm really glad that the food challenge is going the way it is, because it's definitely gonna help us, I think, in the future when it comes to distributing the innovations that the other side of our work is actually doing. Sorry if that's way too verbose. I kind of my brain left my head for a moment or two.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me, because to me it feels like this source of food is a big issue, and a lot of ways how we produce things is a big issue as well. So a lot of chemicals are used, a lot of overproduction, which means that not the right nutrition comes in the food and all those things, which cause, of course, a lot of issues for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I mean, if you do your job right when it comes to the food production, to really do it in a decentralized way, it also has to be adaptive. So this isn't officially part of the rules for this challenge, but if you have a food production or nutrition production, medicine production sort of situation, it would be really, really fantastic if it could measure exactly what its end users actually needed moment to moment. There's nothing that would prevent you from measuring, like the metabolites in your breath and stuff like that, and actually changing the food that's being produced. Keep track of the biometrics of the individual and maybe introduce some sort of medical intervention within the food itself, either like in some sort of microdose format or a macrodose format. I mean, the closer that you can get to having, I kind of think about it sometimes like it's like farm to table, except the farm is like, in your kitchen. It's just like a few feet away from you. But you could do the same thing, once you get to that point, you do the same thing with medicine. And so it becomes really a holistic process where, food and medicine are kind of one and the same, and everything that you eat and take into your body is optimized for your health moment to moment. So it's a pretty radical, maybe a little grandiose, maybe a little nuts, but I think it's something that we will hopefully, I think we'll see it to one extent or another in our lifetimes for sure. Just a question of how far reaching it is and how quickly you can get it distributed to everybody. But I think it's
I think that's very interesting, especially for the people that actually need it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's continue with some other people. So Robert, go ask your question and then I'll hand it over to some new ones.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Gobel. I had thought of some more questions, so sorry about that. I do love the fact that you guys state that this isn't a short-term project; it's a long-term project, and obviously medical and science is not going to go away in the next decade or the next century. So, and I feel like this relationship or partnership, as you want to say, with our token is amazing, and I can only see it growing from here. And I would think financially we'll all benefit from that, but we'll have to see how that goes. But really, I have two questions. But one question is, as NASA is starting to move away from basically private companies are really moving into the space industry, and I was just curious of, have you guys been looking at or already making a plan or communications to operate with these private space companies, not specifically talk about any specific company, but how difficult is that going to be to continue on with a relationship with the space industry market? Thank you.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we actually know a great number of people from private space, incidentally. So especially when we started doing the food challenge, we made a real concerted effort to make sure that we knew everybody that we could get our hands on. So we actually have a lot of good relationships with people at different private space companies. So sure, like Axiom and Blue Origin and SpaceX and Redwire and iSpace and Voyager Space, like you name it, we have relationships with those folks. Lots of good people in the space industry.
Thank you for that answer. That's awesome. It's good to know that, obviously. My other question is, if you can answer, and if you can't, that's fine. Just kind of curious of how large the Methuselah Foundation team is, and kind of what you foresee over the next 5-10 years or whatever. Do you expect growth of amount of people that will grow into your foundation as far as helping you do to work? basically how large are you?
Yeah, sure. So we've always been a virtual organization. You know, I've always tried to take a pretty decentralized approach and to, you know, not burden ourselves with a great deal of overhead. So I would say, let's see, like right now, it's, I mean, I could do some quick math. I'd say, you know, between contractors and volunteers and employees, we're hitting somewhere in the 20s. Like around 20 or so, something like that. So, but in terms of growth, yeah, I definitely see it probably getting bigger. I mean, it depends on how we do things. You know, sometimes when a program gets too big to the extent where it becomes difficult, it becomes like a good time for it to spin out, you know. So sometimes we will do that if we have a program it's really successful. It's better for it to go and spread its wings and do its own thing. So it could be that we take some of our programs and do that, and that would keep the organization still fairly small. But it could be that, you know, we were able to adjust the underlying structure of how we decide to do things, and you know, maybe we just get bigger and bigger, and as long as it doesn't, as long as we don't turn into some sort of bureaucratic monster, I don't think that's a problem. But it's really important to be able to move swiftly and not get bogged down with a lot of organizational BS. So it's not exactly the cleanest answer in the world, but it's because it really kind of depends on how things go in the future and what opportunities arise.
I just want to thank you for your time. I know you're busy and we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Gobel.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, call me Dane. But yeah, thanks, Robert.
All right, Dane.
All right, have a good one, man.
Hey guys, can I ask a question? It's Sharky White here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for joining, Dane. One of the things that really excited me about this project was the association with the foundation, and I think the combination of the foundation and the community is extremely powerful. If let's say in a year's time we had 1 million holders, let's say, and there were up to 200,000 active monthly users on the Dogelon Mars, following Dogelon Mars. Obviously, you've got potentially a huge resource there that the foundation could tap into. And obviously, that's already starting to happen. You know, the community are starting to talk about the mission token, which I think Sergio maybe triggered that, you know, the idea that we should start talking about it as a mission token, which I think was picked up pretty well. And this is only a kind of like thinking out loud type question, but if you, as a foundation, decided, okay, well, we've got, from our side, we've got the scientists and the research and the academia. From the community side, you've probably got, you know, obviously a more crypto-based audience who are probably a little bit younger, who maybe have different objectives. How would you, you know, if you've got this kind of huge following from the Dogelon Mars community, how are some of the ways, and this could be to anyone, by the way, but I think Dane in particular would be interesting, how would you like to use that as a resource? And so, for example, would you like the community to be picking up on each of your individual initiatives and partnerships and doing memes? Or would you like us to do more sort of, try to do a little bit more in-depth following of your partnerships? And again, it's just I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, but you might at the moment go, actually, I'd be more interested in steering the community towards this sort of direction.
Oh, wow, it's a great question. It's hard to say. I think, you know, communities tend to understand themselves the best, and self-organize, and they understand what where their greatest strengths lie, you know. So so I wouldn't want to put necessarily put like words in the mouth of the community or anything like that, but I think that the hope is that, like you mentioned, we have a lot of scientists and academia sorts of folks on our side. The hope is that we're able to encourage them to kind of have a melding of the minds with the Dogelon community, where the Dogelon community is able to amplify a broader vision. So there's a mission that we are all kind of aligned on, and there's a lot of scientists who are aligned on doing it, and that's the number one thing that we care about. We really just simply want to get the job done. So whatever's required in order to facilitate that, we are excited about. We want scientists to be aware that they have a greater capacity because of actually tapping into the community that you guys have been building for now for a year or so. So yeah, it's not the clearest answer in the world, as I don't have a specific.
Don't worry. I mean, it's something that it's kind of, I've been thinking about it a little bit, and I just thought, a long time ago, I did this kind of meme of a carrot taking off, a giant carrot taking off into space, and obviously a scientist might look at it and go, what are these guys on? And you kind of go, again, there might not be any right or wrong answers right now, but it's kind of like, obviously the community tends to come at it at a more kind of main playful level. To a mass audience is probably the way to go. But the M Foundation the M Foundation may decide, actually, we do want to appeal to a mass audience. Let's do more of that type of stuff. Or actually, no, this could embarrass us in front of the scientists. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of.
Oh yeah. No, I got you. No, I don't. I'm not worried about that at all. I think being able to communicate effectively is really kind of almost the number one thing. If people don't understand what you're trying to accomplish, either from an aspirational or a technical point of view, they don't have the language in order to be able to convey to others, why they're doing what they're doing, why they're trying to look for grant funding, why they're trying this thing versus the other thing. So memes are absolutely fantastic at providing like narrative shorthand that's easily communicated and communicable, right? So I'm a huge fan of memes. I love memes. I love memes. Memes are great, and we, it's very difficult sometimes to convey these sorts of topics to people. So the faster that you can get to having the faster that you can get to being able to have a more in-depth conversation with people, the better. And I mean, memes are just about fantastic for that. So meme it up, man. Go nuts.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Sharky, did you have any more questions? Okay, I guess not. So let's move on to the second one, the other one. Doc, are you still there?
Check. I don't know if you guys were checking in with me. Tesla, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Dogelon Mars community and the crypto space right now. Thank you for having me. My name's Dave. Dane, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us and share what you can with us. So basically, I'll be kind of short and sweet, just a couple things. One, can you either maybe potentially hint to or hypothetically speak about potential new technologies that will be coming out, actual analog technologies that would work with us or around us, or we go inside or something that would help with the goal of, 90, the new 50 by 2030. So technology that might come out that would assist with that. And then also, are you looking for any human test subjects? I work out, bro. So like, I could probably go through the mill of testing, and I'll sign any waivers. So, so those are my questions.
Yeah, sure. I have no idea how to answer the second one. Yeah, feel free to come over to my house. I'll try some. I'll have some radical research chemicals I can try on you and see what happens. But you know, it's actually kind of funny.
100%.
Hey, Dave. Yeah. I see Dave Gobel is actually a couple of icons away from me. If he can get his microphone on, then I don't want to, you know, jump to conclusions, but he might be able to give us a taste of some of the stuff that might be coming out. But I'm not sure if he's on his phone or iPad. So oh, there he is.
Hi, I wanted to ask a question. What do you think of the CEO of the foundation, Dane?
He's a dick.
I absolutely agree.
Hey, thanks for sharing some of your DNA with me.
You're welcome.
I think this should go to a private conversation, guys.
Yeah, as far as what's coming down the pike, after the vascular tissue challenge was won, which was really wonderful and amazing, we actually proposed that to NASA. And so when the vascular tissue challenge was completed, they asked us, you know, what do you think we should do next? And the obvious answer was to go straight to create a new organ, but that's actually a very large problem. So there's an intermediate space that could make a huge, massive difference in the rate at which new drugs and medical interventions are actually approved. So imagine you've got a really, really, really long hose, and at the end of the hose is a kink. Who cares how good the hose is? The water isn't going to get out. Well, that's the way the drug approval process is today. And so it costs $30 million just to do on a single drug preliminary testing on animals. So what we suggested to NASA was that we would start a new project, and that would be bioengineered patient trials, where we would use the emerging human tissue models that are being produced for internal research testing, in addition to or instead of using, for instance, mice, and to create a roadmap and a prize so that, like the autonomous driving roadmap, where in level 1 you basically have cruise control, and at level 5 you get in your car in New York and it drives you overnight to Florida while you sleep in the back. So we have actually created a roadmap like that, and we've invited the scientific community, the relevant scientific community, to join a workshop to bring it to version 1.0. And then we want to have a prize aimed at models that will predict performance about 85% better than animal models. Since they can be engineered, you can discover which drugs won't work at the beginning because they're human models. 95% of drugs that work in mice will never work in humans, which is a shocking statistic. Nobody believes me when I first say that, but it's true. Anyway, so the next major initiative that we're pursuing is to do this roadmap, work toward getting it adopted by the scientific and the commercial community, and to then have a prize for the winner of the models that best achieve non-animal testing, at least for toxicity. So, for example, Vioxx was a drug that came out in the 90s, and it ended up killing more people than in Vietnam.
died in the Vietnam War. It made $12 billion before they discovered that it was killing all those people. But the company knew that it was going to kill people. So we hope to end that kind of shenanigans as well. Anyway, I don't know. How did that come across, guys?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks.
That's extremely interesting. So now that sparked my interest because you said that NASA came with the idea for you guys to create this contest to get bioengineered tissue. Right. Why is NASA so interested in bioengineered tissues?
So first I want to make a disclaimer in that NASA has not approved what we're doing. They asked us what they should do next, and whether or not they end up taking our advice is a different issue. We're going ahead anyway, because it will be crucial to make our 2030 timeline. But why is NASA interested in bioengineered tissue, which they absolutely are? Well, they have never actually traveled with humans to Mars, and they have never had settlers on the moon. And so it makes sense to them to test the effects of deep space on tissue models, bioengineered tissue models using human tissues first, so that they can find out what's going to happen. No one's ever done it before. I mean, if you think about it, you wouldn't want to send an astronaut to Mars if they're going to be microwaved in the first 3 weeks. Nobody really knows once you get outside the magnetosphere of Earth what's going to happen. So they need this information.
So for them, it's sorry. Go ahead.
Couldn't they use the bioengineered meat that we currently have from cows and sheep?
It needs to be human. Human. Do you see why?
Yeah, I do see why. Same probably with the mice, because everything that's tested on the mice takes, like you said, 90% of what is tested on mice doesn't apply to humans. So probably that's the same.
That's it, exactly. So yeah, you want to know exactly what would happen to humans. Now, if they're going to take cows to Mars, I guess they'll want to test cow tissue as well. But I don't see them having any cows on Mars for a while.
People need their milk, though.
Well, that's why you have cell culture. You don't need to. Cows are very, very heavy. That's the rumor, anyway. So now you you grow the tissue, and you can grow the milk. But there definitely is not going to be. I would be very shocked if we end up with livestock.
I'm going to sign off, guys.
Thank you very much, David, for joining in and giving the extra explanation there. That really gave a lot of extra weight to the explanation earlier. So thank you for joining in.
My pleasure.
And I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
I hope Dane did. Yeah, I hope Dane didn't scare you.
he's well inoculated.
All right, so Dart, Tesla, you're still here. I'm assuming that you might have an extra question there before we move on to the next person. Throw it in here.
Yeah, sure. How you guys liking the cartoons? How you liking the memes in the community? I mean, I love it. I love making my, NFTs and memes and cartoons and stuff like that. To me, it's probably the funnest thing of this whole community. And so I just want to see how much you guys love it.
Yeah, totally. I love it. I love memes. Memes are the best. So yeah, keep them coming, man. They're really cool. I love the comics especially. Those are nice. I'd love to see more of them.
Yeah, I think we're all anticipating the new comic. I think it's going to be pretty special.
Can't wait.
That's all I got, guys. Thank you for the time to speak. And I'll see you guys on all the platforms. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Paulo, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I was gonna ask a question to Mr. Gobel, but I guess he left.
He's there if he wants to hop back.
No, I mean, you.
What's the question?
I two questions actually. So, will this be offered in a medical facility? Will it be privatized? And two being 90 being the new 50. Why wasn't it 80 being the new 40, 70 being the new 30? Why was it 90 being the new 50? And what does 90 being the new 50 mean? Is it physical? Is it mental? What is it? Is it emotional? What is it exactly?
So to the last question, the answer is yes, or all of the above. The second question is, it's not 40, 30, or 60, but 50, because 50 is physical competence without comorbidities, typically, but it does not get you, if you're female, into the problem of reversing menopause and having to figure that all out. So people who are in their 70s and mid 60s are daily feeling what's happening to their body. When you're 50, you're no longer able to do a 7-foot high jump, but you can still do a 24K if you're inclined. And I forgot the first question. Oh, how will it be delivered? The way medicine is delivered today, and that is through clinics, hospitals, telemedicine, and probably be delivered by the current physician population, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, and so forth.
I would assume that the aim is global.
Let's see. If we can offer the Fountain of Youth in the United States, do you think that anybody's going to care about borders? So absolutely, we want it to be global.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, Dogelon Army, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all the people that put cities on the mission, but also just want to speak a little bit about the mission. But Dogelon Army is preparing for the colonization of Mars by developing utopian communities on Earth. And what we do, we encourage people to huddle in solidarity with the Methuselah Foundation with the intention to utilize our power to make the world a better place. And we're going to do this by individuals pledging to use a tiny percentage of our huddle to improve quality of life for our communities. And then in this way, we will make Dogelon Mars a world-changing token and give the world another reason to choose Dogelon. And first, we will address deficiencies within our own communities, and as a whole and as a collective, solve the deficiencies of the world.
Thank you so much, Dogelon Army.
if you don't mind, David Gobel and Dan, with the 90 and making a new 50, as what you said, the fountain of youth. And, you know, God forbid, there's a lot of people that want to live longer and, you know, be able to do things what they couldn't do when they were younger with their grandkids and so on. Now, once we take that, now, is it like some type of medicine that we will be taking to reverse the aging? Or like, do we have to do it again once we have that 90 to new 50? You get what I'm trying to say, Mr. David?
Oh, I think he might have dropped off for a second. Could you repeat that again?
Okay, like with the making 90 to new 50, is it some type of medicine that we'll be taking, or will we be in a lab, like once it gets approved, like will we need to do that again to have that fountain of youth after we get that
yeah, it's hard to say, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, so we really don't know, and it's also the kind of thing where it may not be indefinite. We really can't say. So, you know, it's really kind of like you think about it's really a collection of probably different interventions which are emblematic of what we're trying to accomplish. But, you know, what those end up actually being is difficult to say, but it's probably not going to look wildly different than what you have right now. I mean, right now there are already drugs that, like metformin, which do extend your lifespan. And so probably over the course of time will be something along those lines, and then just we'll keep kind of moving the goalposts, I guess you could say, as more interventions become available. But it could be any number of different things.
Right. Thank you, Dan. And it's like, if only people really understood, like, the world, there's people who do want to live longer and want to, you know, see their great grandkids. Basically, I'm looking at the making 90 to new 50 generational health.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
Honestly.
I mean, I think that one of the greatest tragedies, I guess you could say, of humankind is the fact. I mean, if anybody who's had someone close to them, you know, get very old and they have their mind start to fail in particular, it's a very, very sad thing to see. And it's gosh, I mean, even you could think about humanity itself as something that almost has, you know, you could call it something like almost like, you know, generational dementia, where you forget the past, and it's simply because the people who were there are no longer around, or their mental faculties are no longer what they were. So I think about, you know, as a society, you know, the more knowledge that you can have and the more firsthand knowledge that you can have, the better it is for everyone. So that's personally something I really, really hope that we're able to move the needle on. So yeah, I really appreciate that comment. I mean, nobody wants to see their family suffer. Nobody wants to see anybody go through that. So it's one of the, you know, it's one of the oldest problems. It's like the first problem, really, when you think about it, you know.
But you guys are really pushing this out, and really, like, I mean, yeah, there's other companies that's trying to do it, but you guys are doing something that can change a lot of people's lives in this world globally. And it's like, what is it? People wish they had more time. They wish they had more time. There's other parents that work 24/7 that didn't have the time to do this with their kids. It's just like, it gives more, it's beneficial to a lot of people to go on to this science of making 90 to new 50. Thank you guys for what you guys do.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting what we're trying to do. It really is a pretty audacious goal. So the more help that we have, the better it is. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet.
So, Dane, I know we're running low on time, but crypto has been trying to get on for a little while to speak to you. So do you have another moment for his questions? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. I gotta go actually grab my kid from daycare in a few minutes, but absolutely.
Go ahead, Krypton.
Yeah, Dave. So, I got a question about the use case of Dogelon. Is your foundation open to declare and, accept Dogelon Mars as a method of payment? And my second question is, how close are you with the dev? I'm not asking you to disclose them. I know they want to be anonymous, but if you are close with the devs, do you know if they have any plans of any other use case projects they're working on, like the Elon, and how soon it's coming? And my third question is, should Elon come out, does the Methuselah Foundation plan on staking Dogelon and receiving the rewards in Elon, and then going forward and using the Elon or whatever you receive? That way it doesn't affect the price of the token. I know you guys are going to do everything very responsibly. I mean, we are with you all the way. So yeah, that's all I have to ask.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. So in terms of, let's see if I can work my way backwards. So in terms of staking, it's not clear until it actually comes out at what would be most appropriate. To my understanding, that it can kind of mess up the economics if we were to be too aggressive with something like that. So I really can't comment on that until we know exactly what it's going to end up looking like. As far as the devs go, yeah, we're close with the devs. They're good people. And unfortunately, I can't say what their, what some sort of, release timeline is for anything that they're up to. And what was the first question you asked? Oh, I think you asked about accepting Elon. And so we actually already do accept Elon donations, and we are, we try to do whatever we can to encourage, other people as well to do so. Something that we've talked about internally a little bit is, we would love to see a world where, certain, cutting edge industries are actually transacting more frequently, perhaps in a B2B kind of ecosystem with Elon. We really believe in the possibilities that this token has, and the more that we can expand the community, not just regular folks like you and I, but also bringing in larger corporations who are doing really transformative, making transformative products, or doing transformative research. The more that we encourage them to be involved as well, the better things will be over time. So we try to do whatever we can to expand the ecosystem.
All right, thank you very much, Dane. It was a pleasure to having you on here, and thank you very much for all the answers. Clarified a lot of things, and maybe in the future will you join us again?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. I hope I was somewhat articulate. I'm not the best public speaker in the world, that's for sure. So yeah, thanks so much for having me, and yeah, of course, happy to come back anytime. You guys are awesome.
Awesome, thank you very much. And I think we all have that. We're not really public speakers, right? We're just community members here, so no formal trainings.
Yeah, Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces is suddenly turning everyone into public speakers, so it's a good practice, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool, guys. Well, thanks again so much. I'm gonna go grab my kid from daycare, so I'll talk to you guys soon.
Good luck. Thanks.
All right, toodles.
Bye. Polo, go ahead.
Yes, Dane, just before you go, I do have one final last question. Full of questions, sorry about that. Can you tell?
He's already gone.
He's already gone?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I guess that settles that. Thank you, though.
All right, so if there are any more questions or remarks, just request a speaker. And otherwise, we're going to close this Dogelon space.
Yeah, I think we have, yeah.
Hey, Dogelon Warriors. Hey, man, I appreciate you putting this together and getting Dane and Dave in here, dude. Like, the community really needed that, man. So, major applause to you, and thank you very much, man.
You're quite welcome, and you know, we're all doing it together, right? We all have our little part that we play.
Yeah, and I think for next week, we have something exciting going as well. Something very different, but exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun for sure.
Yeah, and I hope we can keep them coming.
Yeah. So we can say a little bit on it though. It has nothing to do with the Methuselah Foundation. So we're going to move a little bit more in the crypto side instead of the longevity side. So that's going to be a completely different flavor to this specific space. Tony, I just added you a speaker. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, or actually I kind of observed when he was talking about Dogelon, he pronounced it Dogelon or Dogelon. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I think I did. And I admit I do the same at times.
Okay, I just wanted to, some clarity on how it's pronounced, because, if he's saying Dogelon, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it should be pronounced that way, but I don't know.
So on the first website, it was announced as Dogelon.
Okay.
So that's how they want us to pronounce it, because Doge or Dogelon or Dogelon, that doesn't really work in the devs' minds. But it's so easy to just go Dogelon.
One other thing that kind of makes me excited is that he did say that they were working with other space agencies, including SpaceX, and that kind of got me a little excited, with the possible ties to Elon himself. So could be a thing.
Hello?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't really understand the question. Is there a question there?
Yes, I have a question. I kind of lost track when he was talking about NASA, and I lost connection for a second or two. He made remarks in regards to NASA and not being something with NASA. Can you, if anybody remembers, can you please clarify that for me? Because I had a trouble with my connection, so I couldn't really understand what they were saying.
He was mentioning that NASA is very interested in the bioengineering of human tissue, and also the longevity part regarding food and what type of food needs to be shared with astronauts and things like that. But he did share actually a lot. He spoke more than 5 minutes on it. So maybe it's better to just listen to the recording and his exact words instead of my quotes that are not really quotes. All right, Tony, do you still have any questions?
No, guys, man, I really enjoyed that. It was really cool to hear both of those guys, and I think this is going to be very special, whether it's now or a year from now. I think it's going to blow up. So anyhow, you guys have a good day.
Thank you, man. You too. Dogelon Army.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, check out the mission at dogelonarmy.com. And if you're interested in adding a city, just send us a Gmail.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Natasha, go ahead. Natasha.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. I just want to really quick before everyone leaves, I just want to give a shout out to every single person here holding Dogelon Mars. You guys are awesome. This community is awesome. Diamond Hand Strong. I know everybody always looks to, the big money, but it's every grain of sand on the beach that matters, so, love you guys. I love you guys. I love this community. I love Dogelon Mars. I love everything about it. Charlene, Crypto Brown, Dogelon Warriors, the Dogelon Army. Just a shout out. And you guys are doing great, against all this FUD going on. Love y'all. That's all I wanted to say.
I am loving all the compliments we're getting, guys. Thank you very much. But also compliment yourself, right? It's not just us. It's everybody in here listening in, taking the information, sharing that with everybody around, So everybody here deserves a compliment. Elon Musk, go ahead. Elon Martian, go ahead.
Sorry, my speaker was on mute. I want to first thank you, Dogelon Warrior, for allowing me to come in. I know I haven't been able to get in to introduce myself and to the community due to my schedule, working and taking care of my father. But I do appreciate everybody in the community for all the work that they've been doing, putting in. Charlene, Crypto Brown with their accurate information, the ones that are putting everything together, and the community that's actually giving everybody pieces of information for everybody to put in, to send to the new investors that are investing into Dogelon. I've been an investor since 3 weeks after it was launched, and I was skeptical at the beginning when I first purchased, but once things started blowing up, and it was amazing how quick everything was just put together, with exchanges being put on exchanges and platforms and whatnot. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was running around. It just caught more of my attention to buy more. I do hold a lot. So for anybody who's in this community right now to listen, I've been in crypto for 3 years, and I gotta say, man, what's going on with this project is really huge, and it's just it's gonna be like it's hard to say this, but it's gonna be like a baseball bat just hitting us right in the back of the head when it just one day it's just gonna go boom. And so with everything that's being said that was out there, just don't listen to anything until you do your own research and you learn. And the only way you're really gonna learn is if you do your own research and listen to the ones that are actually doing that deep research. And I gotta give it to Crypto Brown, Charlene, man. You guys, I mean, the work and the things they say is just, it's 100%. It's 100%. And they don't say nothing until they actually know the truth. So for anybody to go out and say anything bad about something without knowing, it's just, it's not good. It's not good for the community. And this community is just, it's strong. It's power. I feel it. I don't even know you guys. And I can feel the power right through this phone. And so with that being said, please excuse my absentee for the spaces that we have. I take care of my elderly father 24 hours a day, going back and forth to work, breaking my ass. And I want to give a shout out to Dogelon Army for what he's putting together, his project, putting cities on the map. It's great. It's amazing. I do have a lot of ideas. I do have some things that I'm trying to work on. I'm not gonna put it out there until it's official. And I do have a couple people that I'm teaming up with to get some things together to make this blow up even more. But I do want to come in and let you guys know. Obviously, this community is just crazy. It's crazy. It's not many people coming in, but again, it's only a year old. It's only a year old, and yet we just had another exchange. We just got put onto another platform. So just you guys be prepared. It's coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elon Martin, for joining and explaining a little bit something about yourself. I wasn't aware that you're taking care of your father 24/7, but I do see you all over Twitter promoting Dogelon Mars, making memes, sharing it everywhere. You're doing so much on Twitter. So, props to you, man. Props to you. You're really putting in the work.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Dogelon Millionaire.
Thank you for having me on, Dogelon. Dogelon Warrior and Charlene and Crypto. Y'all doing a great job. I wanted to say that. And also want to thank Krypton General for basically I believe in this community we all like one sound and one mind and body, because I was thinking of asking a question of because I hadn't heard anybody say it, but I had jumped in the conversation fairly late. So what I did catch, I was liking what I was hearing to just kind of quell some of the FUD that has been going on around our token. But Krypton General basically asked a question that I wanted to ask, and he asked them, how are they in correlation with the devs and what's their relationship with them? So for him to say that their relationship is pretty much good and the devs is good, I thought that was great. I thought that was great to hear. So that for a lot of the people that had questions about that, I feel like he kind of asked it for everyone that was in the community that didn't think to probably ask it when they were on the platform at the time. But I think it's great what's going on right now, and I feel like Elon Martian. I feel like we almost there. I feel like everything seems like it's starting to come together perfectly, and just gotta wait and continue to hold and wait for this success and this generational wealth and since the M Foundation, this generational health that they're going to provide us with. I feel like it's a great time to be involved in crypto right now. That's pretty much all I really want to say. Thank the community for having me here.
Dogelon Millionaire, thank you for your kind words. You know it, right? When you miss part of the space and you think it is a good space, you want to know more, there is a recording coming up, right? So the moment that we close the space, it's on the pin. You can just listen back and go for the pieces that you missed or you want to rehear again. So
And I think important is that we're not just trying to create generational wealth. We're trying to create generational health as well, which is
Go get some pictures.
pretty awesome. And it's in a way that's unique because we are kind of going against the grain of the whole health system as we know it, because that's basically the pharmaceutical industry. And hopefully we can make a difference and not the people in power and people on top. We as the normal folks can make a difference. And I think that's something pretty special and something we should hold on to and see where it brings us.
For sure, for sure. Cactus, go ahead. I'm not sure everything is going okay there, but Cactus, are you still there? I don't think so. Deonta, go ahead.
Hey, Dogelon Mars family. I just want to say, Dogelon Warrior, I definitely appreciate you holding the space and definitely appreciate the speakers. And excuse if you hear any background noise. Currently traveling right now, but I just want to say, also I appreciate all the speakers, all the content creators. I know we've been holding strong, and I just really appreciate everybody, and I really want to give appreciation to Dogelon Army as well. He does have a great platform as well as far as the pledges and for our community to push for youth and to really make a difference in the Dogelon Mars community in a very positive way. So we are a family inside of Dogelon Mars, and I've always mentioned that we run off of one chain, and that's the same mission is to be successful in longevity. So I really appreciate everybody, for whatever information they're able to give out, whatever questions that, that's being asked, I always say, closed mouth don't get fed. And as I mentioned before, we all love to eat. So, we're definitely not going to starve ourselves. So knowledge is key to our success. And I feel that, however, during this time going forward, the progression of Dogelon Mars, we haven't even hit a year yet. And Methuselah Foundation already mentioned that, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they are successful in longevity by 2030, making 90 the new 50. And I feel that is very a positive thing to hear from them, and from one of the speakers about the relationship with the dead, and for them to be very bullish and confident, that makes others and new investors very confident as well. And this is, like I mentioned before, is the only token that's considered a mission token. And I think we should really push that hashtag as far as mission token, because this is something that's very valuable to our project, or to the project. And Dogelon Mars it would, it was something Crypto Brown said before, and don't quote me exactly, I know he could clear it up, that with all these news going on, if you don't think or don't feel Dogelon Mars, the only missing coin that token, that deals with longevity, health, and DeFi, it's like that, man, you out your mind, you know what I'm saying? And it's not financial advice, but you don't really want to miss out on this opportunity for something greater than just wealth. Health is greater than wealth. you know, because you can't be wealthy and not healthy. I mean, you want to enjoy it. And like we all look at is who don't want to live longer, who doesn't want to see our loved ones live longer and see our grandkids, and our children, you know, happy as well. You know, and I really appreciate, you know, the spaces that you hold and the speakers, you know, and the co-hosts. It does make a difference for those who's unaware of Dogelon Mars. And if they don't know, they will know. And hopefully it's not, you know what I'm saying, too late at a time to where they feel uncomfortable. And right now is the best moment in history for us to be in a position to see the change for longevity and health. So I really appreciate, you know, the time that's given for me to join in to speak, you know, my view of Dogelon Mars. But let's keep it going, family. Let's stay strong, and let's keep the movement going. Thank you.
Really appreciate your statements there, Deontay, and I agree. Should definitely keep pushing the hashtags, keep being positive on Twitter, on Reddit and Telegram, everywhere, right? And now, especially with the Bitcoin market going bullish again, positive, right? You can also see the TA that we pinned up about the whole crypto market and also what that means for Dogelon Mars, that we're getting back in the bullish zone. So that can mean a lot. It can also mean that we're going to start seeing a lot of things popping soon. That is how our history has been. So I hope that happens rather tomorrow than next week, but who knows? Anyway, I think we should close it up. It's almost 2 hours now that we have been holding this space. So let's see, there is Dwight. You're going to be the last speaker. So go ahead. And after you, we'll close the space up. Dwight.
Hey, my bad. I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and I wanted to say that I kind of came in late, but I was listening to Danny and Dave speak, and one of the things that they said that I was kind of been interested in and kind of learned about recently, but I'm glad he went more in depth with it. He was talking about instead of using mice and animals to test or to do tests on things that they would essentially be using for us. I like the fact that they are kind of switching from that traditional way of going about doing their study and carrying out their test, because I feel like that would kind of influence other people in the science field, not just in terms of longevity, but in any other kind of issue or any other discovery, to kind of stray away from using animals and kind of bring about more of a realistic expectancy in terms of results. And what I mean by that is, like, normally when people come out with something and they and people try to worry about what the results would be in human terms. It's hard, like you said, it's hard to kind of like give somebody a 100% accurate result if you're kind of using what happened with the animal in comparison to what would happen to a human. And I think that was interesting to me, because I just think that would bring a real unique way of doing tests and in terms of experiments scientifically. And I feel like that was just one of the major things that a lot of people don't realize about Dogelon, is that that one difference of how they go about doing testing.
Yeah, for sure. And just to add on to that is that they have partnership with NASA to also test it in space, what the effects are. So we have bioengineered human tissue that's going to be tested on here on Earth, but also out in outer space to see what it does to human tissue, and probably also at some point on the moon or Mars, right? So it's really amazing, especially knowing that the Methuselah Foundation is a charity, a foundation, so they have no profit ID behind it, right? So that is, it's really amazing. And to tag onto that as well, for sure, it does not only have an impact on space travel, it has a massive impact on Earth, because if testing can be done with 100%, well, it's probably not exactly 100% to be honest, right? Humans are a strange system, so if a mice is 90% inaccurate for testing, and the human tissue testing would be 90% accurate, that's already a huge benefit to all the experiments that need to be done. It's also in medicine itself, right? Some medicines need to be tested on people before, on a specific person, before to see if it actually works, right? Doctors subscribe medicine, and then they see if it has the required effect, and if it doesn't, then they go to a different medicine. And these are already approved medicines, right? So even in that, I can see benefit. So yeah, it's really amazing. And again, also for you, if you missed a part and you would like to know more, the recording will be up after we close the meeting. So, you can go back and listen to it some other time. With that being said, thank you all for joining. It was a great space. Thank you all for all the kind words and compliments and adding into it. Really appreciate that. And see you guys this Thursday, because we were having another Dogelon space then. That one is less organized, it's more organic, it's completely for the community, so we don't have any set subjects going on. If you have questions, remarks, you want to say something, you want to discuss or brainstorm an idea, you're welcome to come up and discuss it with us. For now, I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening. Peace out.